Section 10.6, Ordinary Annuities, Sinking Funds, and Retirement Investments. An annuity is an account into which or out of which a sequence of scheduled payments is made. An annuity into which equal payments are made at regular intervals with the interest compound at the end of each interval and with a fixed interest rate for each compounding period is called an ordinary annuity or a fixed annuity. The amount of money that is present in an ordinary annuity after T years is known as the accumulated amount or the future value of an annuity. To determine the accumulated amount of annuity, we would use a computer to generate a spreadsheet, as shown on the next slide. Another way, perhaps more efficiently, is to use the formula for the annuity. So here's the formula that we're going to use. So we have the accumulated amount, we have P, which is the payments of dollars made n times per year, R is the interest rate as a decimal, and T is the number of years. Bill and Megan are depositing $250 each quarter in an ordinary annuity that pays 4% interest compounded quarterly. Determine the accumulated amount in this annuity after 35 years. So their payments are $250 each quarter, interest rate 0.04 as a decimal, 4 payments per year for 35 years. So we put the numbers into the formula. Again, we're going to work within the parentheses first. We're going to take 0.04 divided by 4, add 1, and the denominator 0.04 divided by 4. And then we also simplified the exponent here, so then I'm going to take 1.01, raise it to the 140th power, and then subtract 1, and then finally in the numerator multiply that number 3.027099 times 250, and then divide by 0.01. So they will accumulate approximately $75,677.48 at the end of 35 years. Notice in this formula, you should be able to do the calculations. If you do the denominator calculation first, then work with the numerator, you should be able to do those series of calculations without writing anything down other than the calculation of the denominator at the very beginning of the problem. Use the ordinary annuity formula to determine the accumulated amount in this annuity, $1,000 invested semi-annually for 20 years at 5% interest compounded semi-annual. So $1,000 are our payments, 0.05 interest rate, 2 payments per year for 20 years. So again, I simplified the denominator. Likewise in the numerator, let's just go back. I took 0.025 divided by 2, added 1, and simplified the exponent to be 40. Take 1.025, raise it to the 40th power, then subtract 1, multiply that by 1,000, and then finally divide by 0.025. So they'll accumulate approximately $67,402.55 in the annuity after 20 years. An ordinary annuity is used when you wish to determine the accumulated amount obtained over n years when you contribute a fixed amount each period. A sinking fund is used when you want to determine how much you need to invest each period to reach a particular goal. And that's called a sinking fund. So this is a type of annuity into which the goal is to save a specified amount of money in a specified period of time. And so it's the formula we saw before, just solved for a different variable. In this case, we solved it for the payments. So P is the payment needed to reach the accumulated amount A. Payments are made n times per year for 2 years with an interest rate of R. The Burnett's would like to have $55,000 in 10 years to purchase a travel trailer for camping. They decide to invest monthly in a sinking fund that pays 3.3% compounded monthly. How much should the Burnett's invest in the sinking fund each month to accumulate $55,000 in 10 years? So the amount they want to accumulate is $55,000. The interest rate as a decimal is 0.033, 12 payments per year for 10 years. Now, in this case, I would simplify the numerator first, and then I would work on the denominator. So in the numerator, I've got 0.033, divide that by 12, multiplied by 55,000. In the denominator, I'm also going to take 0.033, divide by 12, add 1, and I can also simplify the exponent to be 120. And then if I take that value, raise it to the 120th power, subtract 1, I've skipped a couple steps on this slide, but I come up with 0.390,33827, divide that into the numerator, and we come up with a payment of $387,484.42. And we're always going to generally round these up because we want to make sure we have that $55,000 at the end of the 10 years. So the Burnett's would actually contribute $388.49 to ensure that they reach their goal of $55,000. Use the sinking fund formula to determine the payment needed to accumulate $1 million using a quarterly payment with 10% interest for 40 years. So again, here's my formula. Again, I'm going to simplify the numerator, 0.1 divided by 4, multiply that by 1,000,000. In the denominator, 0.1 divided by 4, add 1, and I'm going to raise that to the 160th power, and then subtract 1. And again, I skipped over a couple of steps, but you can go over those on your calculator, and then finally take 25,000 and divide by the denominator. And so we come up with a quarterly payment of $490.41 for 40 years at 10% would allow them to accumulate $1 million. Variable annuities are annuities that are invested in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, and these are not guaranteed to provide a guaranteed interest rate. The term variable is used because the value of the annuity will vary depending on the performance of the investment options chosen by the investor. Like an ordinary annuity, investor usually invests in a variable annuity by making regular periodic payments. However, there's not a fixed rate of interest. Immediate annuity is an annuity that is established with a lump sum of money for the purpose of providing the investor with regular monthly payments for the rest of an investor's life. In exchange for giving the investment company the lump sum, the investor is usually guaranteed to receive a monthly income for the duration of the investor's life. And this is how pensions are set up. So if you were lucky enough to work for a company that had a guaranteed pension, when you retire, they would create an immediate annuity, and that would be based on what your life expectancy is and then what the payments have to be that they've guaranteed you. Individual retirement accounts are known as IRAs. These are savings accounts that allow individuals to invest up to a certain amount of money each year for the purpose of saving for retirement. They have distinct tax advantages over ordinary savings accounts. There are two types. You can have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. Traditional is an IRA into which pre-tax money is invested, meaning that any money invested is not subject to income tax. However, when the money is withdrawn from the traditional IRA, the money is subjected to income tax. The Roth is the opposite. You invest post-tax money, meaning the investor's already paid income tax on the money, but when the money is withdrawn from the Roth IRA, no taxes are, the money is not subject to income tax. 401k plan is a retirement savings plan that allows employees of private companies to make contributions of pre-tax dollars that are then pooled with other employees' monies. These funds are then invested in a variety of stocks, bonds, etc. And although 401k plans share many of the same tax advantages, there are also some distinct advantages. Usually they're allowed to invest more money, and generally there's also a matching component to it for many employers. And the number 401k is simply the number of the IRS tax code where this is described. A Roth 401k is a retirement savings plan that differs from the regular 401k, and the investor first pays income tax on the money, as we mentioned before. 403bs are retirement plans similar to 401ks, but they're available to employees of not-for-profit and public institutions like schools, civic governments, and so forth. Many of the same advantages as 401ks. One difference, though, the 403b is not established usually by the employer, but they're sold by investment companies. So in summary, as you can see from this brief discussion of annuities, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, many important details can affect your decisions as you begin to invest for retirement. For more information and for other types of retirement accounts, consult a financial advisor or visit a library or an internet website. Regardless of the source of your information, it is important to do your own research and ask many questions prior to investing.